everyone. I am going to double check and make sure I am live where I need to be. Here lately, my phone, there it is, okay, has been acting up. So sometimes I can see comments, sometimes I can't. It just depends on what Facebook wants to do. My camera is just ever so slightly crooked. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so today we're going to do an ink project. I love ink projects. They're so much fun. I am the oldest of 3 girls. And so when we got this transfer, I absolutely fell in love with it. So each piece is cut. It can be cut apart. So each piece can be used 8 to 12 times. How awesome is that, right? And today I ran and got a new shirt because my shirts are on order, but they're not going to get here in time. And I wanted to show this to you guys. So don't be intimidated by our ink. Just because it is semi-permanent does not mean that you can't do an awesome project. If you want to see me heat set this project, you're going to have to hop on over to my business page. I will put the link in. That's what I'm going to do over there today, and I'm going to do a really quick project as well so you guys can see how you heat set. It does tell you on the back of your transfers how to heat set, how to prep it, how to clean it, how to do all of that stuff. So just keep that in mind as well. And of course, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. We are going to get started. Okay, so I always keep my packaging. I always keep my backer sheet because these are reusable 8 to 12 times. And we're going to cut this apart. Now, you always want to stay as close to that cut line as much as possible, okay? Also, there is a difference between the scissors that I'm using and regular craft scissors. These have a non-stick coating on them. They are meant for our transfers, so they do not stick. I am going to put the rest of this away because I will eventually be making shirts for my sisters as well. And that is always so much fun. Let me just kind of, hold on, I'm going to put it, just sit it together right now. Try to get this done quickly. So our ink mats are reusable as well. This is an ink mat that I cut apart. This is our 12 by 24, I think, ink mat. So I'm going to pull this packaging off, and to clean your ink mat, I will show you that as well. So this is super sticky, by the way. So if you are like, oh my goodness, I cannot get that in there without it sticking or without it being weird, you can finagle it, okay? Just keep that in mind. My shoulder just locked up. Ow. And you want to press it down so that it let me put this down so you guys can see better what I'm doing. Pressing it down. And you can see where the piece is. Now, I cut mine apart when I use them for shirts because I don't need the long piece. It's just easier for me to maneuver. Now, this I got off of Amazon. I love using this because this shows me, one, okay, is this centered? Is this where I want it to be? And 2, I go off of that and then I kind of move it down a little bit. And then our transfer would go right here. So, as always, I write on the back. And I do top and a dash mark. I do that so I know how it goes back on its backer sheet. And look what is missing, guys. If you've ever watched me chalk before, what is missing? Our fuzzing cloth. Why? Because it doesn't need to be there. Our fuzzing cloth is not necessary when you are inking, because you want this transfer to be extremely sticky. Now, mine is cut. You can actually see the lines right here where this is actually past the ink mat, but this part is not past the ink mat, and that's the important part. I'm going to double check and look at it. Sometimes I have to get up and look at it and see if it is straight. It does not look straight to me. It looks off. course. We're going to try this again. And sometimes it does take a little bit of finagling. Sometimes you have to kind of eyeball it, see where you're at. Usually I do iron these before I go and ink them, but I did not do that with this one because this is a brand new shirt. I also, if you wash your shirts beforehand, I'm going to tell you, do not use fabric softener because it is just easier if you don't. We're just going to use bright white. This is our ink. It looks just like our paste, except it's semi-permanent. And currently, right now, we have a deal going. Ink and paste jars are buy 3, get 1 free of equal or lesser value, of course. I want to say that our ink is the same cost as our paste. I'm not 100% sure on that one. And with ink, you want to start just off that silk screen. Okay, you want to start just off of it and then pull it toward you in one direction. This looks pretty good, but because I like mine to be really thick, I'm actually going to go over it a couple times. And you can do that with our inks because they are slower to dry. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. And you don't want the lines. You don't want those lines there. So if your squeegee is leaving lines, then I might suggest either A, you clean it off, or B, grab a different squeegee. I might have to do that. Hold on, let me grab that. That looks good. It is completely covered. So we're going to pull this. And our transfer can be used also with paste. Same with paste and ink. It's the same use. You get 12 uses, 8 to 12 uses out of it, depending on how well you take care of it. Of course, you can get more. But you also want to make sure that when your fingers are clean, when you go to touch your project, and when you go to use it, it's 8 times. So if you use it 4 times with paste, 4 times with ink, that is your 8 times. Now I'm going to dry this real quick with my quick dry tool. And then I'm going to let this sit. I'm not going to go too hard with it because of the ink mat that's underneath. I don't want to ruin the ink mat. And I'm trying to take the tackiness off. Normally you would let it sit 24 to 48 hours. This is going to speed up the process a little bit. And then you can hop on over to my business page today at 6:30 and see me heat set this project. I will put the link in the comments. Okay, so I'm just going to let this sit. I feel it's not really tacky anymore. It's not coming off on my fingers. So I'm going to pull this ink mat off. This is how I do this. I actually walk my fingers across it, keeping the project as level as possible. And I know sometimes it is hard. I'm going to hold this up. I'm going to pull this ink mat out. Sitting that there, and then I'm just going to lay the shirt down like that. Okay, so on the ink mat, you can see there's a little bit of ink here. I'm going to show you a little tip. I'm going to grab a disinfectant wipe. Do not use baby wipes. It'll take the stickiness away. But I am going to use a disinfectant wipe, and I'm just going to rub it all the way across. If you feel like there's lint on here from your project, take the disinfectant cloth, wrap it in a squeegee, and just kind of go over it like that. It'll come right off. We're going to take this plastic, we're going to put it back on top while this is still a little wet. And there, our ink mat is ready to use for another project. How cool is that, right? So this shirt is going to get heat set. Normally, I would let it sit 24 to 48 hours, depending on how warm your room is and all of that. And then we are going to heat set it, and it'll be ready to wear. All right, guys, if you have any questions, just go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And I hope to see you over on the business page in a little bit. All right, guys, talk to you later.